A gathering of NATO's lawmakers in Istanbul. Global security and Russia's involvement in Ukraine have been the main topics of discussion.
Before Russia's aggressive actions in Ukraine, NATO had no plans to send troops to the eastern part of our alliance. NATO's aim is to prevent a conflict, not to provoke a conflict. Moreover, we firmly believe and we are firmly committed to a two-track approach to Russia. Strong defense coupled with meaningful dialogue.
At their gathering in Warsaw last July, NATO members decided to strengthen their collective in response to Russia's actions in Ukraine. Turkey has urged member nations to also strengthen the NATO-EU relationship, especially in light of the refugee crisis.
Turkey constitutes a barrier between the terrorist organizations and the rest of the world, particularly Europe. If we fail in our fight and this barrier is demolished, terrorists will flood the whole world and unleash blood and fire. Let's strengthen this barrier instead of weakening it.
Stopping attacks and fighting armed groups overseas requires money. 70% of NATO's budget comes from the United States. President-elect Donald Trump wants other member states to increase their financial contributions.
In the current economic conditions, the EU doesn't want to pay for military operations against countries they don't regard as enemies. The defence costs are always uncollectible costs. Are the Europeans prepared to spend money just for the interests of lobby groups in the United States?
Last year, European allies spent $253 billion on defense. Compare that to the United States, which spent $618 billion. NATO's guideline says member states should spend at least 2% of their GDP on defense. So that means European countries will have to allocate an additional $100 billion every year for their militaries. During Warsaw summit, the guideline was raised to 3%, which means more pressure on members. And it's not clear how the relations are going to work out between Russia and the new US president. The alliance has already initiated an open-door policy for new members. But this could put the bloc at odds with Russia once again, which sees an expanding NATO a threat to its security. Sinem Köseoğlu, Al Jazeera, Istanbul.